Okay, welcome back to my channel. So the M6 is having another check engine light going on. So I'm going to show you how I troubleshoot it. So this morning I got out here and I started the car. Now it's starting okay. Let's see, it's going to start. There we go. So it says service engine soon light, and then on over here it says engine malfunction, reduce power. And you can tell by it smells like exhaust fumes. And the car was really shaky before it threw the check engine light. And alright, so there's check engine light on, so then I go ahead and turn it off. I like to take the key out. Let's go ahead and put the key back in. The screen comes on, but now go ahead, don't hold the brakes. We're gonna push this button. There. So I turn off the AC and the radio usually, just to make sure it's not copying anything. But then you get your computer out. I use this one much more. I have another cable that I use, but this is the Bavarian Technic. It's simple to hook up. So there's right here under left hand side. So driver's side. Just pull this down. And then there's a plug right there. Take this and plug it in. The light turned green instead of blue. So now it's connected. Alright, ignition is still on. So we go over here. Open up the program, Bavarian Technic. Select the vehicle you have. This one is a E64 M6. So you can click on E63, E64. And I always use this one. I'm not too sure what the difference is, but this one has always worked for me. The second one down. It might be like pre-LCI versus LCI version. I don't know. But this is able to read my code. Then left hand side, click this plus button right here, engine S85-2. Then you go to click it, you go to fault codes. And let's see what it says. Motor emergency program. So that's just limp mode. Throttle valve actuator cable. That's probably a throttle actuator, or throttle. It says throttle sensor, but I've replaced both throttle sensors already. The Hall sensor, and it still didn't fix the issue. But this comes on intermittently. 2B, 3B, misfire, cylinder 7. So cylinder 7 will be, if you're looking at the motor, it's going to be the right hand side of the engine, the second to the back. And just emergency program activated. That's it. So it's cylinder 7 misfire is the main issue why it's going into limp mode. So I'm going to show you guys how I fix it. I can clear the code right now. Let's go ahead and do that. So I go to erase fault code. It goes, are you sure you want to erase? And I go, yes. Alright, now everything is cleared. I exit out, so I go to file, and then exit. go back to the car, and I push this button to release, so turn it off. Take the key out. So, alright. And then now I can work on the car. Oh, no, actually, I unplugged this now. After the engine's off, keys off, you unplug this. And then push. There we go. Alright, so cylinder 7. So the numbering for the cylinders is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 7 will be the second one back on here. And of course it's under that cover. But we're going to remove the air box. We're going to move this coolant reservoir out of the way. Remove this coupler. And then we should be able to detach this and lift up that little cover right here that's covering the coil. Yeah, luckily I have a new coil that I've purchased as a spare. Now we're going to go ahead and start taking apart just so we can access the coil number 7. Let's see. So this one has aftermarket intake, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. The factory intake will probably be a little different. Removing. So these are pretty simple. You just pull the top tab up and then it releases. Remove the cover. I'm going to release this clip. So it looks like this clip. You slide this forward and then it releases. Let's go ahead and unplug the map sensor. And then I just set that aside. We still need to get this air box out. Looks like it's a Torx 30. Yep, Torx 30. So there's a screw right here holding the air box. And there should be another one back here. There's another one down there. It's a 10mm. Right. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right down there. 10mm socket. so I'll have to reach down there. But let's go ahead and get this 230. What else? All right. I'm gonna go ahead and undo this filter as well. Looks like just a flathead. I'll go ahead and loosen these clamps as well on this coupler. Make sure you loosen it enough because it has a slide over. Keeps rotating. I'm gonna have to do it with 2 hands. So then I hold the clamp from rotating. Now I'm just gonna slide this off. Make a little bit more room. Get that off. All right, 10mm bolt down here. Down there. So I'm gonna get a socket. Millimeter. Make sure you don't drop. This is just a little nut tub. Shoot, I dropped it. All right, loosen up this for the coolant reservoir. Two 10mm bolts for coolant reservoir. So now you can lift this up a little, and I'm just moving, trying to get this intake box out. Intake box is out. Alright, so I dropped that screw I told you guys not to drop, but let me go ahead and look for it now that there's room. Oh, there it is. Let's see if you can see it. So I dropped that screw, and it's actually pretty easy to get. Well, it's right there. I don't know if you can see. There we go. There you can see it. I'm gonna reach my hand down there and grab it. So that's the screw that was connecting to this little piece right here, this bolt. Now we'll move this coolant box, coolant reservoir. I'm rotating it a little like this in order to clear the strut bar. There is a connector down here. That's the sensor is under the coolant reservoir. Push the tab in, and then we'll go ahead and disconnect that. All right, now this can, I just always set it aside like this. And it seems to be okay for a little bit. All right. So now we have the cover. This should just lift. Here, let's move this. We'll just lift this up. There's two grommets that hold this cover in place. One about right here and the other one over here. So now I lifted it up. We're gonna have to maneuver this out of the way so we can get this. All right, I need 2 hands. Okay. So I can actually access it right now. I don't really want to remove this cover because it's going to be hard to get it back in. But from there, here. Okay, maybe that's better. I just turn on the flash. Now you can kind of see everything. All right, so this cover, there's 2 grommets that hold it in place right here and there. You pop it up, and then now I can just rotate this, and I can see the coil. So this is coil for cylinder 7, and this is the one that threw a check engine light. So to remove this, lift this up. There, the connector came off. Okay. So now I go to my toolbox, get this, and there. So I place it in between the hole of the, and then pull up. All right, I need 2 hands. Wow, it's really in there. Alright, well, I'll yank that out, and hopefully I didn't break anything. But anyways, this is the coil. That was bad. This cover kind of moved out of the way, but we'll place it back in after. All right. Let's go ahead and grab the new replacement. All right, I have another replacement. So you always kind of want to measure it up, make sure they're identical. Yeah. So this is the bad one. I want to mix them up and put another bad one in. For this grease, I'll put it around the put it around the top right here. Maybe around the top boot area too. So then it clicks in place okay. And sometimes I put it a little bit down here as well. Okay, so I spread it so it's a pretty thin layer. Now let's go ahead and pop this back in. The new one's in place. Let's make sure it's sitting flush. Looks like it's in. Alright, now we're gonna put everything in reverse. So I'm gonna get this cover back on. Alright, cover's back on. Now we'll have to move this reservoir back. So there's a grommet down here, and there's a pin, so you have to make sure it slides down into that pin. There's actually two grommets. So there should be one right here in the back, and then one up front. And plug in, make sure you plug in the connector, reservoir, the coolant connector on the bottom. Yeah, I don't know what happened to that grommet, but it must have been gone before I got the cover. Alright. Okay. Got the coolant reservoir back in, but I made sure the bolt's kind of loose, so this can shift around for now. We have to get the air box back in and the coupler right here for the intake. Looks like everything's lined up, and so inside this air box there's a little air inlet connector right there. This. So make sure you reconnect that one as well. Okay. Alright, it's in. Almost done. So make sure I'll put that back in. I try to replace everything exactly how I took it off. Cones in. We're gonna wait on that mass sensor. Let's get this coupler off. For this one, there's little indentations where the clamp should be. Right there. You know what? I should have put the 10mm screw back in that actuates it. So I go underneath here. Nope, just kidding. It's not. Let's see if I can get it from up top. Nope. Okay, we're gonna remove this connector again. There, much easier to reach. Okay, I get it rotated on there by hand, a couple spins, about 2 or 3. Now you can connect these. All right, now this coupler can go back in. So like I said earlier, make sure these are rotated so the clamp is where it's supposed to be with these little indentations. looks like it's on there pretty good. And hold the clamp, and you can tighten that little flathead screw. Now this map sensor can be plugged back in. Make sure it clicks. There we go. Intake filter. All right, intake filter. So before we finish this cover, this screw, that's the T30, goes back in here. It's always fun trying to do everything with one hand so you can record. There we go. Good. Alright. And the rest is pretty easy. You just all these little pins. Because I put all of them in first before I push the pin down in the middle. It kind of helps line up everything beforehand. And I don't want to drop any of these. See, that one's not lining up too well. All right, last one. All right, all of them are in. Now you can push all of them down. Done. Let's start up this thing, see what works. So earlier I already reset the error code. So let's hope no more. Sorry, I just opened the garage so I don't kill myself. Oh, I forgot to put that connector back in. Okay, so earlier we had that coolant light pop up. It's because I forgot the connector on the bottom of the coolant reservoir. I was able to reach it and connect without taking apart anything. So I was able to reach my hands in there. And I was able to connect the reservoir again. So it's all running again. No more check engine light. So ready to go. So we went ahead and fixed everything already. They had another ignition coil that went bad, but everything's back together. It seems like it's running okay. It's been idling for a bit. I'm waiting for the temperature to get up to operating temperature, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take it for a test drive. But we changed out cylinder 7 ignition coil. So it's crazy because this car has 135,419 miles, and about 130,000 miles
the coils seem to be going one after the next. So I'm contemplating on replacing all of them. Maybe save me some time on removing all that stuff. But within the last week, I've replaced 3 coils already. So they're just taking turns going out one by one. And I have another coil on the way, just as a backup spare. So I'm thinking another 6 of them, and then I can just replace all of them. But yeah, I'll think about it, and then I guess next time when something on the left hand goes, I can replace all the ones on the left, and then when the right bank 2 goes, I can replace all of them on the right hand side. But alright, well, I'll wait until something else breaks, and then I'll update you guys on what's next.